you for watching this study in the book of Galatians. Today we're going to be looking at Galatians, the 2nd chapter, verse number 20. Now, as you're turning there in your Bibles, let me ask you to do this. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button. If you want to continue to receive notifications of new videos that we're posting, hit the subscribe button and then share this with someone else. You know what? I've said this, I believe, yesterday. Believers need to know the purpose of the law in the life of a believer. And that's what we're talking about this week. What is the purpose of the law? So will you share it with someone and they will be benefited from it? You know, there's 2 ditches on the side of the road. And I've said this all week. You need to get this in your mind. Both of those ditches are made to stop you from growth, to stop your progress. That's why they have ditches on the side of the road. If you get in one ditch and that ditch is law justifies this ditch, you know what? You're not going to go very far in your Christian development. On the other hand, if you get in the ditch that says, I don't need to keep the law, I can do what I want, you know what? You're not going to go very far in your Christian development. What we need to do is we need a balanced understanding of the purpose of the law, and that's what we're talking about this week in our study in the book of Galatians. Now today I want us to start out at the end of verse number 19. The Apostle Paul says that I might live for God. Now, I want us to just very quickly take a look at this word live, because in verse number 20, he uses it a couple times. The word live is the Greek word zeo. Some people say it's zoe. Well, zoe is the noun pronunciation of that word. This is the verb pronunciation. This is a verb. This is an action. That I might live. That my life might act like God, or act like it's being centered or focused on God. That's what Paul is talking about here at the end of verse number 19. But then he goes on into verse number 20, and he says this, I have been crucified with Christ. What's he talking about? What is he's talking about? He's not talking about that he's been physically crucified. He's talking about that his will, his desires, his motives in life, they have been crucified. Now, let me just say this. The word crucified here, it's in what we call the perfect tense. Now, what does that mean? It means it's been accomplished. It means that it's already done. You see, we as believers need to come to the understanding that my desires, my will, my intellect, my motives, all of those things are already crucified. You see, people that say, you know what, I don't need to keep the law. You know what the problem is? Their desires are controlling their life. Oh, I want to go out and watch an R-rated or X-rated movie. I don't have to keep the law. Oh, I can go out and get in a fight and get angry and whatever. Oh, I don't have to listen to the authorities. I can go as fast down the road as I want. Yeah, well, good luck, and I hope you're believing God for a lot of money to pay the ticket. You see, what their problem is their desires. They don't see their desires as having been crucified. You see, when it says here Zoe or Zeo is the Greek pronunciation for live, it's not talking about the physical life. That would be the Greek word bio. It's talking about this life that we have from God. And you know what? If we are crucified with Christ, that means that our old desires, our old wants, our old motives have been killed. They've been crucified. It's already done. But we need to be living in that place of crucifixion. We have been crucified with Christ. It's a done deal. It's already happened. We just need to be living like it. Now let's go back to verse number 20. It is no longer I who live. You see, that's the problem that we have as believers. Who's living in you? Is it your old desires? Is it your flesh? Is that living in you? Now, by the way, you have control. You have responsibility over who lives in you. Your old man's already crucified. But you can allow it to come back up and rule and reign in your life. You see, Jesus, by faith, through his grace, has crucified you. But you can walk by allowing that old man to come back. And you see, this is the problem that many believers have, is they're saying, you know what? Because the law is no longer in effect for me, I can do whatever I want. In other words, to put it plainly, I can let my old man control my life. If I want to hate, I can hate because I'm not under the law. If I want to be angry, I can be angry. If I want to get drunk, I can be drunk. If I want to lust, I can lust because I am not under the law. No, you are following an old dead man. Do you understand? I can't put it any plainer than that. But notice how Paul ends, and we're going to pick up here tomorrow. He says, I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. What's Paul saying? I've made the decision that in my life, it's going to be Christ that's going to be in control. It's going to be Christ that lives in me. It's going to be Christ who dictates and shows me what I need to, or how I need to live. It's vitally important that we understand this. It's not the law that dictates to me how I'm going to live. It's not my flesh that dictates to me how I'm going to live. It's Christ, the Spirit of God, the anointed Messiah who lives in me. He dictates my life. He is the Lord of my life. I hope he's the Lord of yours. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Join us again tomorrow.